Welcome to Krogan's Garage.
Oh, hey. Thanks for stopping by. If you watched the last episode, then you might remember that I said today we'd be talking taters.
What's taters? Potatoes?
Freedom. And the pursuit of horsepower. So, without any further ado, let's get at it. Now you may have noticed if you saw the first video in the intro, this car is driving down the quarter mile and we're taking a couple rips in it, and you can hear the turbo spin up. And I figured you guys probably want to know something about this thing. I'm just, not so excited about some stupid bike, some super fart. Well, more to come on this in a little bit. This here is a 4.8 liter LS motor out of a 2011 Silverado, making it a Gen 4 motor. I originally intended to put this thing in and just gap the rings and basically just send it with a turbo. There's so many people that do it. They put a turbo on, stock everything on the inside, and they easily make 700 horsepower. And so originally that was my plan. But I wanted to go through the motor before I did that, so I had the motor sitting on an engine stand and I tore the whole thing down just to check everything out. I wanted to make sure everything was in good shape, and I was going to gap the rings, clean everything up, put it back together, and call it a day. And as it was sitting on the engine stand, one thing led to another, and I decided I definitely needed to at least put a cam in it. So I put a cam in there. It's a stage 2 turbo cam. And you can see the specs here. And while I had it apart, I was cleaning the piston ring lands, and I accidentally cracked one of the ring lands. And I said, well, I'm not going to just put one new piston in it. So I bought some forged pistons, put those in there. And then when I did the cam, I obviously had to do dual valve springs, and figured I might as well go ahead and do the trunnion upgrade on the rocker arms as well. But that's it. Otherwise, this thing is a stock motor, stock bottom end, stock connecting rods. I did do push rods. Those are hardened chromoly push rods from BTR. And the pistons in the cam are from Summit Racing. They're just Summit Racing brand pistons and cam. And then everything else, just new gaskets, and that was pretty much it. I did LS9 head gaskets, but I also, one of the main goals on this project was just to build everything myself. I am not a professional at any of these things by any means, but YouTube's a hell of a thing. And so all the stuff you see in here, any little brackets, the charge piping, the exhaust, all that stuff I built myself in my garage. And now she does 10.8 seconds in a quarter mile. In all honesty, this thing probably should be a high 9-second car, running about 18, 19 pounds of boost, but it's all about the driver. So for the transmission, I am running a T56 with a little custom oak shifter cover here with the Terminator on it. And then as you can see, it also has a Holley Terminator X Max system in it. And the reason I went with the max is normally it's either for running an electronic throttle body, which is what I have, or running a automatic transmission like a 4L60 or a 4L80. Built the whole roll cage. It's not the greatest thing in the universe, but it's a roll cage, and it'll hopefully keep me alive if it needs to. Hopefully it never needs to. You can see I got the Holley 7-inch dash. And you can hear my boost controller when I click the key on. But this thing is awesome. You can set up your gauges any way you want. You can add gauges, you can add inputs, you can add outputs. And it's really just a fantastic system. Anybody that's looking to do an LS swap on something, I highly recommend going with the Terminator system or any other Holley system. They make it super simple. I mean, it's plug and play. It comes with a wiring harness. You can just take the other wiring harness off the motor, toss it in the trash, or sell it to somebody, or whatever you gotta do, but everything's labeled. You just plug it in, you hook it up to the computer, to the Holley computer, and it walks you through some steps, and it tells you to fire it up, and suddenly it runs great. So I mounted mine in my glove box. So obviously got a little party whistle in here. And this is a eBay turbo with upgraded internals. It was given to me by somebody, so I don't really know any of the details on the upgraded internals, but I was told the internals were upgraded, and it's held up so far. Some people ask me, what's it like driving a 3,000-pound car that makes 700 horsepower? And I tell them, there's nothing like it. It'll put hair on your ass and take it right back off. It'll put your junk in your hump. It'll put the woo in your boo. It'll make your girlfriend 9 months pregnant. But in all honesty, it's the truest feeling of freedom there is. So you're probably thinking to yourself, man, those are pretty horrible descriptions. I have no idea what it's like. I don't know any better way to explain it, so come on, let's go. Let's go for a ride. All right, let's go. Folks, that's gonna do it for Talkin Taters today. What does he mean by taters? Potato. One thing before we transition into the next topic, I gotta say this has been the most fun build of anything I've done. A lot of challenges along the way, and learned a ton, and it's just been awesome. So if you're thinking about doing something like this yourself, I recommend it. Just do your research and try to make some beans. Mind your beans and taters. All right, folks, I'm gonna wrap this video up by talking about the upcoming project. I am super excited about this. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Tater has been a hell of a ride, and it is by no means over. There's a long way to go with Tater. I gotta get into the 9s. And that means more power. But I can't stop doing projects, and as you know, I picked up Super. And it's time to talk about what Super is going to turn into. The idea behind this is to build something that can drive on the street legally, drive off-road, and then even be able to drive in the sand. I've seen a lot of people with side-by-sides, and they look like a lot of fun. But the one thing that gets me is a side-by-side is one seat next to the other, and then if you're ever driving alone, your weight is totally off balance. And then you also have the extra weight of the other seat on the other side. So I had the idea of doing something that had one seat in front of the other, because you got to have an extra seat. I want to be able to take my lady friend for a ride with me. You know, we want to go ripping off road. She doesn't want to be sitting in the truck. So I thought, what about if I did one seat in the front and then one seat behind it raised up, reduces the frame size, reduces the overall weight, and that means more beans. So if you're curious about what it looks like,